Hello, guys. Good morning. I hope you guys are doing well. Let me just check here the connection, see if it's working. Can anyone say to me if you guys can hear me proper? Okay. Hey, Ney, our friend. How's everything, man? I hope you are doing well. Ney, can you tell me if can you hear me properly? How about now? Can you hear me, guys? Good morning, Fabio. How are you, man? So can just anyone say to me if you guys can hear me? Let me see. It's okay. Okay, that's good. Let me check here. Okay. So you guys still hear me okay with this phone? Okay, guys. So if everyone is there, let's give it 2 minutes. So as you guys may saw outside, we have a really beautiful sun today outside in Ireland. Hey, Camila, thank you. So I hope you guys are doing well. Thank you, Fabio, also. I hope you guys are enjoying today. Ney, I believe he's back in Brazil. I hope the weather there is nice. We know it's winter there, but we hope still that he's getting a nice weather. But I mean, winters in Brazil, they're like summer here for us in Ireland. So I'm sure he's getting a nice weather. Okay, guys. So let's just wait for 1 more minute and see. How are you guys doing today? If you guys want to type any questions, guys, here, also please do it. If you guys want to type any comments, Bertinha, she's with us. So if you guys have any comments, any things to say, if you guys want to make any questions between the speech, please do it by all means. We're going to start, guys, because the speech might take some time. So we're going to do our original prayer, and we're going to be waiting for our friends to come. Okay, thanks, Robertinha. The sound is good. Okay, guys. So for everyone who feels comfortable, I'd like to invite you to close your eyes, to take a deep breath. Let's be thankful for the lives we have. Let's thank God and the good spirits for everything that we have had in this life. The good experiences and also the bad ones, because perhaps they were the ones which taught us how to be stronger. Knowing that we are in difficult times all over the world, we know that we have to be strong, but at the same time to keep our faith, our good thoughts quite up high. So let's ask kindness and goodness and guidance from the spirits to open our hearts and our minds for this message of Spiritism and our Master Jesus today. Thank you to the good spirits for the opportunity to be here again with the Spirit Society of Ireland. Let's start. Okay. Let me just come here. Let me add the screen. Okay, guys. So here we're going to be talking about this passage that we can find in Mark, Luke, and John. Jesus calms the storm. And in this passage here, I believe, although it seems quite simple, I believe using Spiritism, we can try to analyze and try to comprehend certain parts which perhaps for some may sound quite strange, or even such as allegorical or quite illusional. So here we're going to be breaking down this parable, each part per part here, line per line. Is not a long parable, but if we break down, we will see that we have plenty to talk about. Okay, Stephen's with us today. Good morning, my friend Stephen. So here In the parable, it says, that day when evening came, he said to his disciples, let's go over to the other side. Leaving the crowd behind, they took him along just as he was, in the boat. There were also other boats with him. A furious storm came up, and the waves broke over the boat, so that was nearly swamped. Jesus was there in the stern, sleeping on the cushion. The disciples woke him up and said to him, Teacher, don't you care if we drown? And Jesus got up, he rebuked the wind and said to the waves, Quiet, be still. Then the wind died down and it was completely calm. He said to his disciples, Why are you so afraid and shy? Do we still have no faith? They were terrified and they asked each other, Who is this? Even the winds obey him. So here, morning, Danny, we have several parts in this passage, which at least for me, they are quite strange. We're going to be breaking, as we said, but just one clear point here. When it says, why are you so afraid and shy? According to some scholars, from the Greek translation, from Matthew, actually, Jesus probably have said, why are you so coward? So he didn't ask, why are you so shy? But in fact, probably Jesus at that time, he was a bit harsher with the apostles. But all the translations that we know, they say, why are you so afraid and shy? Just out of a curiosity here. And we're gonna start to breaking down, a little bit of this parable. So in the first part, it says, that day when evening came, he said to the disciples, let's go over to the other side. Why I left he in red? Because we have to try to understand that according to Spiritism, Jesus is the greatest model, the greatest spirit which the spirituality gave to us. Spirituality did not give to us any religion, but the spirituality brought Jesus as our master and guide. As an older brother, we can say, as that one who can guide us. The Apostle Luke, in his gospel, he mentions Jesus sometimes in his letters as the captain. Captain, it's an expression which actually came from those who were in the boats. It was an expression related to the Marines, not the Marines, the army, but I mean for those who were in the boat in the time of Jesus. So captain is this expression which means someone who guides. And Luke saw Jesus as the Spiritism brings to us as that one who guides us. And here in the book, Heaven and Hell, H and H here means heaven and hell. Chapter 3, item 9, Kardec says to us, a single corporeal existence is manifestly insufficient to enable a spirit to acquire all the goodness it lacks and get rid of all the evil that it still has. So one thing that we can all agree here, if you are an atheist, if you are a spiritist, if you're a Catholic, if you're a Buddhist, if you're a Muslim, doesn't matter which religion you believe, or if you don't believe in any religion, we all agree that we're gonna die. Okay, that's something that's beyond beliefs. That's a fact. It's a natural fact. Okay, so since we know that we're going to die, here Jesus is trying to bring to us this sense of the more spiritual aspect of death. So we're gonna have to cross to the other side. The Greeks, they said to us before that once we die, there will be the boatman who carries us to the other side. Okay, so this transition to one stage to another stage is not something that we choose. We're gonna have to go through that. And here we are using death as a idea behind this part here. So we're gonna have to reincarnate. We're gonna have to start to think about our spiritual life. Okay, that's why the Spirit says to us that with only one life, it's impossible to us to improve ourselves, to become better people, better spirits. But here we have to pay attention again. When Jesus said, let's go to the other side, he's saying to them, hey, I'm gonna be guiding you. I know it's a sea. He was crossing the Sea of Galilee, which is a quite large place, and the storms, we didn't have technology that we have today. So a storm could come from nowhere and they could be in a huge trouble. That's why is Jesus saying, come, I'm gonna guide you. So he's putting his place to the apostles as I'm the one who is supporting. And over, he keeps going the parable, and it says in the parable, there were also other boats with him. So we can understand from the parable that there were other boats crossing, with the apostles and Jesus. It wasn't only them in that sea, in that river, not sea. So there were other boats. But if you try to analyze this, in the Spirit's book, question 774, it says, social ties are necessary for progress. Family ties strengthen our social bonds. Simplifying here, once you take the parable, once you take question 744, we can say that we cannot progress alone. And family is the first social place that most of us will be placed in order to deal with the differences that we may have with other people, to deal with others. Okay, so in this part here, we can say that we cannot progress on our own. We cannot progress alone. Okay, that's what the spirits are trying to bring to us, this sense that we need each other in order to progress. Guys, is the camera working okay? Just to make sure here, because to me it seems to be breaking down sometimes. Could be my internet, I'm not sure. Can you guys see properly, guys, at the screen? Let me check here with my computer just to make sure. Let's go here. Let's get this camera. Maybe, okay. So guys, please let me know if the camera is working fine for everyone, if you guys are okay. Thank you, Danny, thank you very much. Because to me, it seems to be blinking sometimes, so I'm not sure if it's breaking the connection for you guys also. And then, thank you, Sah. And then in the Genesis chapter 18, Kardec says here, all spirits are called to participate in the major transition of our hearts, even those with reduced sources, less moral values, or intellectual capacity. Thank you so, Natalie. But here, I'm paraphrasing what Kardec said in the Spirit in the chapter 18, because chapter 18 of the Genesis is talking about the planetary transition. But you see here with what I wrote, the transition of our hearts. So I'm not going to be talking about the planetary transition at the moment, but what I'm trying to say that these troubles that we have in life sometimes, all this station that we are living here now, once we talk about the planetary transition, we cannot understand that the planet is changing and that we're going to be changing with the planet. It's the opposite. We must change our hearts in order to the planet to change. We have to make our hearts a bit more peaceful, and we have to care more about the others. That's why in this slide I'm talking about social boundaries, when we have to have connections with people. How can we want to go to the regeneration world if we cannot deal with our neighbors, families? Let's not talk about neighbors, let's not try to be philosophical here, but we cannot deal with people close to us, to our family, to people at work. So in order for us here to progress, we must change our heart. That's why here, there were also other boats with him. We can understand, as we said, that we need the others to keep progressing. And here it says, a furious storm came up and the waves broke over the boats. So here, who among us here does not have a difficult time in life? Who among us here, especially now with the COVID time, does not have a storm in our lives, breaking everything, destroying everything, mixing up everything in our life? And then in these times, normally we lose our faith, because everything was okay. We were in this sea of tranquility. Then a storm came up. Then we start to wonder and ask and lose all the beliefs that we have. And we're going to be seeing in the next slide. But here in the Spirit's book, question 988, we say that the Spirits, they say, spirits cannot acquire knowledge and advance except through activity. If they choose a carefree existence, they make no progress. Here, Kardec was asking before if some spirits, they can live a life without any suffering, without any storm in their boat of life. And the spirits, they say to us that only through activity we progress. Activity here means difficulties. It means storms in our life. So we need this. So a spirit, if he could choose a life without any suffering, if he could choose such a thing like this, he would see in the end of his life, once he goes back to the spiritual world, that he didn't progress. Why? He didn't want to have any troubles in his life. Okay, so that's why here we have to understand that these troubles or activities or storms that we have in our life, they are necessary to us to progress. But why are they necessary? Someone may ask me. Because they are the tools which spirituality uses in the level that we are right now to teach us. We cannot presume that spirits in happy words, spirits, they are having the same troubles that we have. No, they don't have the same troubles that we have. They don't have the necessity of eat. They don't have the necessity of having clothes, or to care about the weather, if it's going to be cold, or it's going to be raining, or to care if it's going to be, they're going to have things to provide them shelter. They're going to have a place to sleep. They don't care. In the spiritual world, they have different cares there. They have different things to care about in the high evolved worlds. But in the level that we are here, we need activity. We need the storms to keep progressing. So the spirituality uses this to help us, not because they are meaning and they want to see ourselves drowning. They want us to see a difficult as a lesson, and we're gonna see that. But the same question, this reply here from the spirits is quite long. I'm just getting the small part, the small portion of it. It says, the sum of the happiness is exactly proportionate to the sum of the good we have done, while the sum of your unhappiness is always proportionated to the sum of the wrongs we have done, and how many we have made unhappy. We say that in all speeches that we have here, especially myself and Stephen, we keep it repeating ourselves, and not because we don't have anything to say, but we have to internalize that. We have to keep repeating this to understand that if there is something wrong in our life, there was a wrong action from us before. So all the happiness that we have is the sum of all the goodness that we have made, and all the unhappiness is the sum of bad things, perhaps we can put in this way, that we have not made. And Kardec, in the other question of the Spirit's book, I forgot the number, he goes even further. He asks the spirits, can a spirit live a life without doing any harm and be, let's say, go to heaven? What he's trying to say, can a spirit don't do anything bad and still being okay in the end? The Spirit says no. We must do all the goodness that we can with all powers that we have. So we are in a stage that we cannot only don't do anything, we must practice good. Okay, so we have to understand that these situations that we have in life, there are ways which the spirituality brings to us in order to us to progress. And here, oops, sorry, I pressed the other wrong button. Yeah, let me see. Yeah, thanks, guys. Sorry. So here, it says, Jesus was in the stern, sleeping on a cushion. The disciples woke him and said to him, Teacher, don't you care if we drown? And here, beautifully, Kardec says in the Genesis chapter 15, item 46, at all events, Jesus was sleeping quietly. During the tempest, attached a security which can be explained by the fact that his spirit saw there was no danger and the storm was going to end soon. So Jesus was there quiet and sleeping while the storm came. Why was he there sleeping? Because he knew. He just had the knowledge that we don't have. He could see and perceive things that we cannot even grasp. So he knew that storm wouldn't do anything. Okay? But I left the word there called stern. In Portuguese, we know as a popa do barco. Stern means the back part of the boat. And in this part here, where he was, the back part of the boat, we can say that in that boat we leave things that we don't care. What do we leave normally behind? Things that we don't care. What do we leave, let's say, in places that no one sees? What we don't care. And here, that's why I left that word in red, stern, that here we could see that the apostles, they were in the boat. Everyone was happy, enjoying the sun. They were fishing. If we can put in the word in the times of today, probably they were there eating some prawns, having a drink, relaxing life. They didn't care about Jesus who was behind. So the apostles, they didn't care. We can think, if you open up the lesson here, they didn't care about their spirituality, as most of us we don't. We leave our spirituality in the stair, in the popa of the boat, na parte de trás do navio, na popa, right there in the back. Why do we live there? Because we are having a happy life in general. We are working. Most of us, we are here studying Ireland. Some people, they are working here for many years, like myself, Stephen. Some people, they are having a good life. They don't care. Some people now, they are enjoying the summer. Why would they care about spirituality? And that's the biggest mistake that people do. That's why this storm comes to us to shake things up and say, hey, have you not forgotten anything important behind? And we have to go back to the basis, to the spirituality. That's why all religions, they say to us that this material life, it's something which will pass. It's something which has a time to start, has a time to end. But some religions or some philosophies which believe in reincarnation, like we do in Spiritism, we know that life never ends. We keep progressing. So, since it never ends, we should care more about the things which are really valuable to us. I'm not saying that we should not care about things that we like, about cars, about house, about clothes, no, but we shouldn't give all our energy to these things. That's why Jesus was left in the back. And here we do something that the apostles, they did when they woke up Jesus. In the question 663 in the Spirit's book, Kardec asks, can we avoid our trials or change their nature by praying for ourselves? The answer is a bit bigger, but basically it says to us, the spirits, prayer calls good spirits to your side, who give you strength to bear these trials with courage, so they seem less severe. Prayer is never useless when it's sincere, because it gives you the strength, which is important. Why I'm bringing this question here? Because when the apostles, they were there, they woke up Jesus. What do we do once we are in difficult? We start to pray. As we said, we start to care about spirituality. But can our praise avoid the troubles that we have? And the spirits basically, they say no. Because if that was a trial that we chose before we incarnated, or if that was a trial that the good spirits, our guides, they know we must go through. If they take this trial for us, they're going to be breaking a natural law, which is the law of action and reaction. They're going to be impeding us to deal with our previous mistakes in order to fix and to keep going. That's why a prayer cannot stop. But of course, in Spiritism we say, like the apostle says to us, that love covers a multitude of sins. Peter said that to us. So even if once we pray, we cannot avoid the troubles that we have, we can say that once we pray, we can make things easier. And if you are praying and if you are doing good, maybe you're going to reduce the amount of trouble, of the expiation that you would have if you didn't care about anything. So we have to understand that a prayer gives to us courage. And the apostles, they left their spiritual side of them in this turn. We do this. I've said this here several times, but why am I repeating myself? Because if we don't remember to put spirituality in the correct place in life, life may put spirituality to us in the correct place without our will, breaking things up, shaking things up, forcing us to put spirituality. When do we see this? When we lose someone that we love, once we are sick, once you're in a really difficult situation. We're not talking about I don't have the iPhone which I want, but once we are in a really big situation, spirituality comes up and say, think about this. Forget about the other things. And here it says in the parable that after the apostles called Jesus, he woke up and he said to the winds, quiet, be still. Then the wind died down and it was completely calm. In the Genesis chapter 15, item 16, Kardec says, in this case, we should not interpret that this event as a miracle, but perhaps that Jesus has a certain knowledge of nature and elements that we don't know yet. And also in the Spirit's book, chapter 9, intervention of the spirits in the physical world, you guys can see in the question 536 and 540, the role of the spirits in the natural phenomena. What we are trying to say here, why do I bring these items of the Genesis and the Spirit's book? Because if you say to me today that someone is able to go to the wind and say, wind, stop, and the wind will stop, I might think that you're a bit crazy. And I think when someone reads the Bible, they may think, oh, that's a bit allegorical, that's something crazy. Of course, we have the right to think like this, but we have to analyze things a bit deeper. All the parables of Jesus, they were ways which the spirituality, Jesus himself, inspired in the apostles to try to access their memories of the things which they lived with Jesus once they were writing, or even with when the other people were writing, because most of the Gospels that we have, they weren't written by the apostles. I think only Matthew was written by the apostles. They have to access their memory. But memory sometimes it changes and then we lose. So once we have this passage here, I don't know what was going on there, but the Spirit says to us here that there are spirits who are looking after the nature phenomena. It doesn't mean that they come in and say, let's have an earthquake. Bam, we start to have an earthquake. No. Earthquake, these things, storms, earthquakes, and all these things that we have related to nature, they are things which God created, but there are spirits who look after these phenomena. And also here, maybe Jesus had a knowledge that we don't have. Let's say some people come to me the other day and said, Wanderley, what can you tell me about this passage when Jesus stopped the wind or when Jesus was walking the water? Jesus should be walking the water. We think that was crazy. But once you have that train in Japan who goes over 300 kilometers per hour without touching the soil, the trilhos. Can anyone say how to say trilhos in English? I forgot. But without touching, basically here, the soil, that train used magnetism. So perhaps Jesus had there, thanks Stephen, without touching the rail, sorry, thanks Stephen, the tracks, thanks Samantha. So we know that this train in Japan, it's able to go over 300 kilometers without touching the rail or the tracks, using magnetism. But a man who was probably maximum of 75 kilos, could he not have walked over the water? I'm not saying that he did or he didn't, but we're trying to say that there are things, once we analyze Jesus as this high evolved spirit, maybe he has some knowledge that we don't. Maybe he knew how to control the elements of nature in order to do these things. That's why I'm here. So I'm not affirming anything, but I'm asking you guys to go and try to go research for ourselves. And here, after he said, why are you so afraid and shy? Do you still have no faith? So I know it's normal sometimes once we are in the boat to feel despair and doubt. So once we are incarnated, we feel despair, doubt, and fear. And sometimes once we go to search for religions, or once we go to try to search for some knowledge in order to try to understand this fear that we have, this despair that may be facing us, we go in search into the old religions where they have these phenomena which we don't believe, as we were saying here. But we have to understand that we cannot go against science anymore. We cannot go against facts anymore. That's why in the Genesis, item 41, Kardec say Spiritism very far from denying or destroying the gospel. On the contrary, comes to confirm, explain, and prove it by new laws of nature that reveals it throws light upon the obscure points of the teachings of Jesus. So here, what Spiritism is doing to us, they are saying to us there are things that we don't know yet, which are related to nature, which are related to spirituality, but we started to grasp this with Spiritism, I don't know, over 150 years ago. We are not saying that before there was no spirituality, before there was no knowledge of reincarnation. Of course there was. Reincarnation is a knowledge that the Egyptians, the Hindus, the Asians, they have over 4,000 years. We are not saying this. But Spiritism brings to us this knowledge and try to teach us that everything has a reason. Everything has a reason to be in the universe, to stay in the universe. It's nothing like it is here because it has to be here and that's it. It's here because God says this and that's it. No. So sometimes, when Jesus asked the apostles why they are so shy, why they are afraid, we have to ask ourselves, why do we still have doubts? If we know that God is good, God's merciful, God is a loving Father, why do we still doubt His mercy once we are in troubles? And I'm saying, you guys do this, I do this, and everyone does that. But we are still learning, guys. We are still trying to grasp what faith really means. And here, in the item 17 of the Gospel according to Spiritism, we bring this part here all the time, in our speech. Yes, we do. But as we said before, we have to internalize it. We have to try to explain each time in a better way possible. Otherwise, people, they're going to be thinking that Spiritism does not care about certain things or care too much about other things. We are trying to say that this Jesus that we see in some religions, the old traditions, there is a lot of allegory there that we have to interpretate. And we have to use science that we have nowadays. We have to use the knowledge that we have, that we gained throughout reincarnations. We have to use everything that we have, science, philosophy, and religion, in order to try to grasp this and try to comprehend, God, and try to comprehend the goodness of the good things that we have. And here, in the item, chapter 19, item 7, it says, Kardec says, rationalized faith, when based on facts and logic, leaves no doubts. Then the person believes because they are certain to can be certain unless they understand. This is why they are unshakable. What? The facts are unshakable, okay? Because unshakable faith is that which can stand face to face with reason in all epochs of humanity. So the spirits are saying to us that our faith has to be something strong. It has to be something that it's not because science is going to say something new next year that we're going to change and say, oh, everything was allegory, everything was just religion. Spiritism brings this sense to us that everything's connected. But throughout time, throughout reincarnations, we improve ourselves. Once we improve ourselves, we start to grasp more knowledge and we start to spread this knowledge. Then humanity and society starts to improve because we know more. We don't have only the blind faith as we had before. We have knowledge now in order to acquire and to try to change and to challenge things. Not challenge in a bad way, but try to ask, is this really that? Is death really the end? Is there nothing else after death? Is there nothing else before death? And the Spiritism brings to us this knowledge explaining about the relationship between life and death that I believe only Spiritism does, guys. Other religions, they can have this, or philosophies, they can have this knowledge, but in a different way. But Spiritism brings in a way which makes sense because Kardec used science and logics to try to compile all this knowledge, because he uses the method, he used the scientific method in order to put this. So the same method which Kardec uses is the method which science uses still nowadays. He gathered examples, he analyzed the examples, and he starts to put each example in each place. And after this, he concludes what is what. I hope that makes sense, guys. We have a question here from Natalie Victoria. So let me put here Natalie's question. So, see, okay. Natalie Victoria asks us, how do we know the difference between these storms and karma in our life? Is there a difference? Is all plan a lesson in evolution of fate? Or are some pain deserving for mistakes in past lives? Okay, Victoria, Natalie or Victoria, I'm gonna put this like this. The word karma to us in Spiritism, we see a little bit different than what the Hindus and the Asian people they see. With all respect their way of seeing, but we see the word karma in a different way. We see the law of action and reaction, because karma is something which is more similar to the law of Talion or Talion, in the law, which is the law of the Moses, which he brought: a knife for a knife, a knife for an eye, a tooth for a tooth. So it's like this. Karma is more or less like this. I do this, I'm going to receive exactly the same like this. Spiritism doesn't live like this. In Spiritism, we do things, and then we're gonna have to fix the things that we did. But how are we gonna be fixing? Facing the same situation as before? Not exactly. Maybe we will do it, but maybe because we did some extra good here or there, or in other lives, perhaps the spirits, they're gonna say, Wanderley, you don't have to go through this kind of situation. You can go through another path in order to improve. So everything that we do, we're gonna have to fix it. Be sure of this. Everything. But it does not mean that we're gonna have to suffer an equal suffer of the suffer that we cause to the others. I don't know if that makes sense, because this suffer that we cause to the others, sometimes, as we said, it will be alleviated by other actions. It's like this. If you do a crime, if you commit a crime right now on earth, you go to the court, okay? There will be a persecutor. He's gonna try to say, oh, Wanderley did this. But then the defense lawyer will say, but he did this because of this and this and this. So then the jury and the judge will analyze everything. So he did this because of this, but he was in this situation. So what I'm trying to say, that even the law that we have here on earth try to analyze everything. In the spiritual world, there's no different. It's more perfect than it's more perfect than the law that we have here. So there they're gonna see all the goodness that we did, not only all the evil that we did. Let me go back here to just see if oops, sorry, Cassia, hey, let me see here. And then you ask me here, is all pain a lesson evolution of faith? Yes, all the pain that we have in life is a lesson to us, but not all the pain, as you said here, comes from previous lives. Not at all. Kardec says to us that 75 or maybe 8%, I'm just giving a number here, but the Spirit and Kardec says the majority of the suffering that we have in this life comes from actions that we did in this life. Because you cannot say, let's say you are someone who smokes. Sorry guys if I'm using the smoke here, if there is anyone who smokes here. But we know that smoke, unfortunately, is not good for us. Science has proved this, okay? So there is nothing against those who smoke here. But we cannot say that I'm 45 years old, I smoked for, I don't know, 30 years in my life, 25 years in my life, doesn't matter. And now I'm suffering, I'm having a cancer. Oh, it's because I did something in the previous life, I have this cancer. God doesn't like me. Come on, you smoked for 25 years. What do you expect? Sorry if I'm being too straightforward, but what I'm trying to say is this. A lot of suffering that we have nowadays comes from the action that we do in our daily life. But, of course, there are certain things which come from previous lives. For sure, there are. But we cannot be sure what comes from previous life and what does not come. But, of course, if you take a small child, okay, a kid who has been born with a problem in their lungs or in their heart, and he's just 3 years old, 1 year old. What has he done? Has he smoked to have his lungs uh, in danger? No, he just born. So in that case, we can say that it comes from a previous life, but we cannot say that it is an expiation, that it's because he did something bad. That's why he has that problem once he is 1 years old, once he is 1 year old. But what we can say is that the suffer, if the suffer comes from a previous life, it can come as an expiation or as an omission, which the spirit, not mission, but as an atonement, as an atonement, something that the spirit chose to pass, not because he deserves to pass this, but he knows that if he pass that in that life, he's going to be able to improve faster. So not all the suffering are expiations. Some of the suffering are chosen by us in order to progress. Does that make sense, Natalie? I don't know. Please let me know if I explained properly, if I took too long to explain. But your question may seem simple, but it's not simple. It's a very complicated question, which deserves some time in order to us to explain properly. I hope I did. Maybe I missed something. If there is anyone here, Elsa, who knows a lot, Stephen, who knows a lot, everyone who knows here a lot, please, guys, let me know if I missed something here in this point. But it's a quite delicate question that wasn't us. But believe me, anything which comes in your life always will be in order to us to learn something. There is no there is not a meaningful God behind who says, I'm going to be making Natalie suffer. Ha ha ha. No, it doesn't exist. Or I want whoever to be suffering, or, no. If we are passing through a situation, or it came from a previous life, or it's a result from the action that we have here in this life, but also can be something that we chose to pass in order to progress. Thanks, Natalie. And here we have the final slide that we have here is from the book called Living Spring by Francisco Xavier, or Fonte Viva, where Emmanuel says to us, faith is a feeling that can be developed using the strength, will, knowledge, and virtues. So what Emmanuel is trying to say to us, a lot of people, they come to me and said, Wanderley, I don't have faith. How come can I have a faith? The faith that you or someone else has? Why was I born without faith? And no one is born without faith. But some people, they can be, they need a little bit extra in order to have their faith. Let me just, sorry guys, a problem here. So some people, they need an extra explanation in order to have their faith. Some people like myself, I have to say, if you say to me, Jesus did this because he wanted to do it, he woke up Lazarus from the dead, and Lazarus was 100% deaf, you're not going to convince me. But if you say to me that there are things which perhaps I don't know yet, maybe he knew, oh, I see a possibility there. So faith, the rational faith that Kardec is trying to bring to us here, the spirituality is trying to bring to us here, is this faith which has to make sense to us nowadays. We cannot go in 30 years' time still believe in Adam and Eva like we believed it before. Our humanity will not accept this. We are not saying anything bad against any religion or any faith who believe on that. It's beautiful, but we have to understand that these things, certain things in the Bible and in the old traditional books, they are allegories in order to teach us a lesson. But the men of the 21st century, the kids which are growing now, they're not going to believe on this. They're going to need facts. They're going to need science in order to believe in certain things. That's why spirits and Kardec, they are trying to bring this. When I mean the spirits, guys, Jesus is the spirit who is behind. Some say that he is the spirit of the truth. Some say that he's the one in charge of the spirits related to the group of the spirits of the truth. Doesn't matter, but what we say, he's behind. So if he is behind, the teachings of Spiritism was compiled by Kardec, but the teachings comes from him. That's why in the Spiritist movement, sometimes people they leave Jesus a little bit behind, and it's natural to do this because we still see Jesus as the man who walked in the water, who who created bread from nothing, who created wine, changed wine into water. We still see this as something which was a fact. I'm not saying he didn't, but if he did, it wasn't a miracle. So Spiritism brings to us that there are no miracles. Like Einstein said to us, miracle is everything which happens in nature that we cannot explain yet. So to us nowadays, a storm is not a miracle anymore. In the time of Jesus, or 4,000 years ago, a storm which came from nowhere could be a miracle. In a dry land, let's say like in the Middle East, where everything was dry and they had no harvest to collect because there was no rain, a rain which comes from nowhere, for them can be a miracle. But that rain 4,000 years ago, which came from nowhere, came by a reason, by a logical and a natural reason. So Spiritism brings to us this sense. That's why Jesus said to us in the Gospel of John that there are things which I want to tell you, but you're not ready yet to comprehend. You are not ready yet to grasp this knowledge. But I will bring you the good spirit, the spirit of truth. I'm using my words, okay, guys? I'm going to be bringing you a spirit which will bring all this knowledge to you, and this knowledge will be forever. Some people believed that when Jesus said this, he was talking about he would come back. But how would Jesus come back in a physical body that he was using 2,000 years ago if he died? No, he could not use the same body, because again, that would be a miracle. But perhaps Jesus is saying to us that I'm going to be bringing you something which is going to be lasting with you forever. That's what he said. I'm going to bring to you something. This spirit will come, stay with you forever. Even Jesus died. He couldn't stay with us forever. So if we think that he's talking about a person, that person will die, cannot stay forever. But if we think that Jesus was bringing a kind of knowledge can stay with us forever. And we believe in Spiritism that this knowledge, this spirit, which Jesus was mentioned before, is a Spiritism. Why? Do you think Spiritism is better than the others? No, we don't think, guys. We don't think that, guys. Believe me. But Spiritism brings Spiritism, at least for myself, I see as a chance for those hearts who wants explanations, who wants to see reason in everything, who wants science to be connected with spirituality to make some sense. Otherwise, spirituality without science for them doesn't make sense. I see Spiritism as a tool in order to teach these spirits that there is something more. So spirituality brought Spiritism to us as a way to touch these hard hearts, the hearts of science, the hearts of, I don't know, many great science that we have, Einstein, I don't know, Galileo, many of them, Spinoza, Carl Sagan. So for them, things they have to make sense. And at least I believe that Spiritism is the only philosophy which could make some sense to them. That's why I brought this bit here, guys, today. So I'm trying to really explain this apparently simple parable of Jesus, try to break these things up and explain that in each parable that we have in the gospel of Jesus, in each line, we can have hours of talking, because there is a lot of things for us to learn. There are plenty of lessons there. But in order to do this, we have to open our hearts and not go to the Bible, to the gospel according to Spiritism and say, it's just religion. I don't care. There is so many beautiful lessons there, guys. That's why each time I open the gospel and I start to study one parable of Jesus, I feel that I've learned something new, something which perhaps changed my life, I can say. It doesn't make me a pure spirit, an angel, but at least challenge my way of thinking and say, why I was doing this, why I have this kind of thoughts before. So the gospel of Jesus brings this to us. So I hope this parable made you guys think about faith in a different way. And let's not forget that with all the science and all the knowledge that we have nowadays, in the times that we have difficulties, our prayer and our feelings sent towards God and the good spirit or spirituality, the name, it doesn't matter what you give, always will reach them. And once it reaches them, they're gonna try their best in order to help us. And believe me, guys, they do help. Even if you pray and if you cannot, let's say, if you have someone with COVID, if that COVID which that person has is in the plan, reincarnatory plan of that person, you can pray as much as you want. That COVID won't go away, unfortunately. I'm sorry to say in this way, but once you pray, you can be sure that the person who has COVID or the person who is in any other situation will be helped by the good spirits, will be enlightened, will be comforted, and you can find comfort on it also. But someone may ask me, like the other day, my friend asked me, Wanderley, so can COVID not go away from people? Of course it can. And we have seen cases with people that get COVID, cancer, or HIV, or any kind of illness, and that disappear. But what I'm trying to say is this, that it was not a miracle. That was in the plan of that spirit, maybe to have this for a while, and that because of his good work, perhaps, prayer of course had a part on it, but everything is regulated by the good spirits, you can put it this way. Okay, so I think I spoke a lot. If you guys have any questions, you guys can say. Let me see here. As we said, we have here Samantha, Cassia. She used to be here with us, now she's in the UK. We have our great friend here, Elsa. Thank you, Elsa. She's in the UK with Buzz, guys. You know, the British Spiritism Society. They are doing an amazing job spreading Spiritism in English. And here we have Natalie, which we spoke already. Our friend is Stephen, Robertinha, Daniela. So, guys, thank you very much for you guys all. And we have some announcements that we always like to share. We are doing now the reading of the Spirit's book, which we are recording. Myself, Marine Stigl, and Neide Mota, you know, we are recording the Spirit's book in videos. So we are launching each video every Friday at 5 p.m. Dublin time. We launched one on Friday, and we're going to be launching the next one on next Friday. So every Friday we have a new video. At the moment, we are explaining the introduction of the Spirit's book. And after that, Marina is going to be talking about the questions of the Spirit's book. So it's quite a nice video. If you guys can go to our channel, subscribe, and leave your comments and messages, that help us quite a lot. Of course, we have here Elsa saying to us, we have the Spiritual Light as well, every Wednesday at 9 p.m., where Elsa from the UK, we have Charles from the Belgian and French Federation. We have also, forgot her name, Stephen, help me, Nadia, and then Stephen here from Dublin, talking about Spiritism. So every Wednesday, guys, and I really recommend you guys watch, because they give this more scientific, logical, using science and philosophy to explain more about Spiritism. Our friend here, Marina, she's part of this project. Without her, there will be no project. You can be sure about this, Marina. And thank you very much for your time and for the patience, of course, with me. Here, Cassia also. Thank you, Cassia. We are glad that it's been able to help you, you know. And so I guess we are done for the day, guys. We're going to do our final prayer if no one has anything to say. Let me see if there is any other announcement here which I have to make. Yes, of course, guys, I forgot. Guys, please don't forget that every Wednesday or so at 8 p.m. we have our study group, which Neide and Tanya Moore, they are looking after. They are running the study groups for us. So if you guys want to join, please send an email to us at spiritism ireland@gmail.com, and they're gonna be sent to you the Zoom link, and you guys can participate every Wednesday at 8 p.m. They study, and after they study, you guys can go through to the live that Elsa was talking. So what else we have here? Yes, I'd say that's it. So thank you, Fabio. Thank you, Danny. Also, so guys, that's it. We're gonna do our final prayer. Okay. Again, I would like to invite everyone to close your eyes, to take a deep breath. Let's not forget that in the difficult times that we have in life, in the storms that we have in this life, in all the difficulties that we may be facing, there are plenty of good spirits supporting us, our mentors, guides. The name doesn't matter. We have also our older brother, our master, our guide, Jesus, who have been supporting humanity since its creation, helping us in order to understand, to get closer to God, to this God of love, mercy, wisdom, to this God who wants that all the spirits, all of us, to progress step by step to get closer to Him. And He gave to us this captain. So in the difficult times, let's not forget that the captain is there, guiding this boat called life, guiding this planet, our blue, beautiful planet. He's with us, and He said that He would be with us until the end of times. And everything that He said to us, guys, please believe, because all His words were the words of truth. Thank you, everyone. Thank you, all the good spirits. So be it. See you guys next time. Okay, guys. Thank you very much. I'm gonna go back because I have to work. So, guys, enjoy the sun outside. It's a beautiful Sunday. For those who can go outside and enjoy, please do it. See you guys. Thank you very much. Bye bye.